Hi, welcome to my screencast for reviewing works cited entries for journal articles. I want to start with a couple of entries I've already created, show you what all this information means, and then show you where to find that information in the actual articles. So you probably know that you start with a works cited title. Make sure that you only center the title. Sometimes I receive works cited pages that have everything centered on that. You only want to center the title, so make sure you select that by itself. Or if you type your title, then make sure you go ahead and click over on the right justify when you finish. To do this section, this is called a hanging indent, and to get to this, you just do a right click. You're going to select paragraph, and then hanging indent under special. You'll see what happens when I take the hanging indent off. It's just a regular right justification. And again, paragraph, hanging indent, and it does it for you. So you don't have to put a return at the end of each line and tab over, which is what I used to do before I figured this out. The entries break down into roughly 4 parts. Used to be 3 parts, but with the internet we've had to add a section. Author, always last name, first name. Title of articles are always in quotation marks. Publication information, which includes the name of the journal. This is italicized because it's a longer work. Volume number, issue number, the year, and the page numbers. The 4th section then is the access information, for lack of a better term. This is the database, Academic Search Complete. You're going to call it web because you got through the internet, and then this is the date that I accessed this article. Now, often people will put Google Scholar here. Google Scholar is not the actual database. Google Scholar is the search engine that you use to find that. So you have to pay close attention to where you actually found that database. If you're on campus and you see the link off to the side that says full text UIS, that's taking you to a different database. Now, one thing I will caution you about with, and we're getting a little off track from the works cited entries, but when you are using that link, sometimes it does not take you in the correct way and it looks like you have to pay money to get that article. What I recommend you do is go into the copy and paste that title of that article that you want, go directly to the database or to WorldCat to find that article through the library database, and then you won't have to pay for that. Never pay for an article. We have access to too many articles on campus to do that. My second entry, notice it's in alphabetical order, SC to SE, author, title. Now this was originally in quotation marks, and so what I had to do here was put it in a single quotation mark. So anything that is already in quotation marks, whether it's something that you're citing or in your essay or something you're putting on a works cited page, you will put into single quotes while you put the other quotation marks around it. 4th section again, publication information, journal, volume, issue, year, page numbers. Notice that when the first number is the same, this would obviously be 120 to 137. You can drop the 1 off. This is from a different database called JSTOR, and from the web, same date. Now something I want to show you here, the way this originally showed up when I finished typing it was to leave this 20 sitting over here by itself. These are called widows and orphans. I can't tell you the exact difference between widows and orphans, but this 20 is just sitting out here by itself. So what I did, I could have done 2 things. I could have put it off by itself. That looks a little bit funny to me. So I actually broke the line at web, and then I would have to tab over here. Do this last. You keep all of your entries together when you're doing it initially. Alphabetize them. You can use the A to Z button here to alphabetize your list. Then go back and fix any of those widows and orphans. Now I want to go over, well, let me first show you the format in the writing manual. So this is a scan from the page. You can see the same format: author, title, journal, volume, issue, year, page numbers. This says print because somebody actually got the print version. technically you can do this if the essay is available in print and not just in a database. For purposes of our class, though, I really want you to use that database. Don't use print if you're actually using something that you found online. This second part of this is going to be on page 229, and this is going to be a source from online service your library subscribes to. So this includes all of those databases that the library has access to. The first step would be to put down the name of the database. Notice that it is in italics because it's a long work. Web, and then the date accessed. So let me pull the first article over here. All of the information you need is usually on the article itself after you download it, but there's a little bit of extra information I had to put on here. So what I did after I downloaded this article is I opened it back up in Adobe Reader, and Adobe Reader allows me to put this comment in here, and then I put the name of the database, and then it also has the date I did that, so 20 February. The name of the journal is usually at the top or the bottom, more often at the top. Notice that it gives the volume number, issue number, the year, has the author and page number, so it has everything that you need for your entry, as well as the page numbers, of course. So it starts at 395, and I can scroll down the bottom, don't get dizzy. And this tells me it goes to page 422. Now you'll notice it has EBSCO Publishing here. Again, that is not the database. EBSCO is like a super database. It's a collection of databases, and the actual database it came from then is Academic Search Complete, and so that's what I put in my Works Cited entry. I don't need to include EBSCOhost. It's sort of like Google Scholar in that it's like a search engine. It allows you to get to those databases, but it's not the database itself. The other entry we have is from JSTOR. JSTOR puts all of the information that you need on it, so you don't have to go up to the comment bar to access the little sticky note that I put in the other one. We don't have to worry about that. What you do have to worry about is getting the right information. So obviously the author is given here, the title, Historicizing Lincoln, and if you weren't sure what the title was, you can go down. You can see, oh yeah, there's the title. Now notice this is Pennsylvania State University. That is not the publisher of this journal. It has nothing to do with the journal. That's where this author is a professor, where she's located. If we go back to our title sheet, this trips up a lot of people. A lot of people want to use this as the journal article or as the publisher, but and it says published by, so that makes sense. We're putting publication information in, but notice we have source. This is what we really want. Notice we have Rhetoric Review, Volume 16, Number 1. So notice you can't use these numbers this way. You've got to put them into MLA format. And the way MLA format works is that this number can only mean one thing. This 19 can only mean volume number. This 3 can only be the issue number. If you don't see an issue number, you know that that first number is a volume number. You know that these are always page numbers. So it's not necessary to put the abbreviations VOL, ISS, or PG, or P, or whatever you use to indicate pages. That is not necessary to do. So this Taylor and Francis actually does not go into your Works Cited page anywhere. What you do need is the access date. Notice it is in the same format as MLA style, which is day, month, year instead of month, day, year. So it's 20 February 2013. And then JSTOR would be your database. On the dates, and this would go for any entries, not just the journal articles, you would abbreviate all of the months except June, July, because they're 4 letters anyway. Abbreviate all of them to 3 letters, except for September. September should be SEPT, partly because that's the complete name of the number 7. Now I know September is not the 7th month, but it was the 7th month in the Roman calendar, which is where we get that name. And I want to encourage you to check with me if you have any questions about entries. I know this is a quick review. but you should have had exposure to this before. And again, you have those page numbers in the writing manual. Let me bring this over here again for you. Page 229 for the information for databases, and page 222 for scholarly journals. Now, you don't have to worry about this continuous pagination or paging each issue separately, because if you notice the entries, they're exactly the same. 2004 page numbers, 2002 page numbers. The only thing you might add, if you have any doubt and you don't have an issue number, you can add the month in here in the parentheses, but as you see, that it's not indicated here. So don't worry about this continuous pagination. You don't need to worry about that. So again, if you have any other questions, be sure to check with me. Show me your entries. We have plenty of time before the end of the semester to make sure we get all these correct. And remember that this is not just about being picky, it's not just about being detailed, but it's about a writer's ethos. And having respect for your sources is part of that writer's ethos, and having respect means putting those entries in the right format so that other people can go to use those, because that's where a lot of people do research. It's not just going into the databases, not just Google Scholar, but going to the end of articles, or even while they're reading the article, seeing what another person is using and tracing that information. So it's really important that somebody can use your information to actually find other sources, which is something I do very often. I do it on at least a weekly basis. So thank you for listening.